If you're at an age where you can collect Social Security benefits but have not done so and your spouse is a little bit younger, this video will help you to go through some of the thought process and the considerations before you file for Social Security benefits. I'm Brian Paluso with HBK Provident Advisors. We have offices in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and in Sarasota, Florida. I'm going to walk you through a case that we worked on recently, show you some of the details of the rules of Social Security that apply to this situation and some of the thought process that this couple went through before collecting benefits. Of course, we incorporate this into our overall DREAM financial planning process, which stands for Discover, Reduce Stress, Expectations, Action Steps, and then moving forward. What I want you to understand is that Social Security is definitely a financial planning concept. It's not a simple take it now or take it later. Many of you will collect hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some of you over $1 million into your household throughout your lifetime into Social Security. So it's a very big decision, and you want to get it right. So here is a recent case that we had worked on with a couple of our clients. Now, keep in mind, this is just for general information. I've changed the names. I've changed some of the birth dates and a little bit of a few of the numbers, but the concepts remain the same. This is for informational purposes only. If you happen to have the exact same birth dates and this seems similar to you, you should not take this as a recommendation, but rather just think about the different rules that apply to you. Everybody's decision on Social Security will be a very personal decision. So again, just for informational purposes. And so here are the folks that we were working with. This is Mark and Susan. Mark was born in 1956. Therefore, his full retirement age is 66 and 4 months. So that will be in December of this year, 2022. His primary insurance amount, PIA stands for primary insurance amount, is $3,000 a month. That is 100% of his number that he would receive at full retirement age. If he collects earlier, he's going to get less. If he collects up to the age of 70, he's going to get a little bit more. Mark, in this case, is still working and has a pretty solid income. He does have $1 million in a private life insurance. He also has some life insurance through work, which is a very important part of all of this that I will get to. Susan, his wife, she was born in 1962. So she's 60 years old. Her full retirement age is 67. That's when she will get 100% of her number. Her primary insurance amount is $1,000 at the age of 67. If she collected off of her own record, she would get $1,000. That's from her prior work life. She's not working right now. They do have 2 children. They're both 18 years or older. So that won't come into play. Sometimes children can get benefits if they're in the household of somebody who is eligible to collect benefits, is collecting benefits, or is deceased. Then children 18 or under could possibly collect benefits. Now, for Susan, her spousal benefit off of Mark's number would be half. If she waited to collect a spousal benefit off of Mark's number, she would half of the $3,000. That would be $1,500 if she waited till her own full retirement age, which of course I said was 67. If she collects her spousal benefit prior to her age of 67, she would get less. If she waited till past her own age of 67, she would not get more because spousal benefits do not enjoy the delayed retirement credits. Mark was thinking about collecting Social Security as soon as possible. His line of thought being, well, might as well collect some now in case the system runs out or in case you pass away early. Certainly understand that, but there's some other things to consider. Susan was encouraging him to do that as well. Here's where the full retirement age numbers come from. Mark is in that 1956 age group. So his full retirement age is 66 and 4 months. And then, of course, Susan, she was born in 1962. Therefore, her full retirement age is 67. And you can see, depending on your birth year, when your full retirement age. Full retirement age simply means you get 100% of your primary insurance amount, your number. You collect earlier, you get less. You collect later, you get a little bit more. So this is how they calculate your primary insurance amount. Where do they come up with your number? It's 35 years. They look at 35 years of earnings. They only calculate it up to the FICA, Federal Insurance Contribution Act, FICA limit. 2022, the FICA limit's $147,000. So if you make over $147,000 after this year, On your Social Security statement, they're going to show $147,000 because you only paid your 6.2% into Social Security up to that $147,000 limit. So they take the highest 35 years of earnings, and then they run this primary insurance formula against that. And then they come up with your number. Now, I had mentioned that Mark is not quite full retirement age. He won't be full retirement age until December of 2022, but he is still working. And that was an important point, because if Mark were to collect Social Security right now, prior to his full retirement age, there could be a reduction. And the way Social Security does that, if you collect any benefit prior to your own full retirement age, and you make over $19,560, they're going to start reducing $1 of your Social Security benefit for every $2 over that limit. So be very careful about collecting Social Security benefits early prior to your own full retirement age and continuing to work. Important to note, this is an individual calculation. This is not a household calculation. So if you are collecting Social Security benefits, they will only look at your work history for this reduction. If you're collecting benefits early, prior to your full retirement age, and you continue to work, doesn't matter who else is working in your household for this calculation. If you continue to work, they will look at your work history and could possibly reduce your Social Security benefits. Here's where you find your primary insurance amount. This is a sample of the newer Social Security statements. This is the first page. You look at your full retirement age, and that number that corresponds with that is your primary insurance amount. Interesting to note, I believe, on the second page on the lower left-hand side, it will show you how much money you have put into Social Security in your name and how much your employer has. Of course, you put in 6.2% of your wages, again, up to $147,000 in 2022. And your employer puts in 6.2%. So that's actually 12.4%. If you're self-employed, you get to pay the whole 12.4% for yourself into the system. But on the second page of your statement, lower left-hand side, you can see how much you've put in and how important it is, because most of you have put a ton of very valuable dollars into Social Security. And why not figure out the way to get the most out of the system? All right, here's how the calculation works. This is for Mark. And what happens is, if you collect prior to your own full retirement age, in this example up there at the top, Mark's full retirement age is 66 and 4 months. For every month you collect prior to that for up to 3 years before your full retirement age, so Mark's full retirement age, 66 and 4 months, every month he collects early, it's a 0.56% reduction, which comes out to be 6.7% on an annual basis. That goes up to 3 years prior to Mark's full retirement age. So 3 years prior to Mark's full retirement age is 66 and 4 months. So from the age of 66 and 4 months down to 63 and 4 months, the reduction is by 0.56% per month. And then from Mark's age of 63 and 4 months down to the age of 62, there's an additional 0.42% reduction, over 5% per year. So if Mark were to collect early, this is the reduction that he would expect to see. If Mark waits after his full retirement age, everybody that waits to collect after their full retirement age, you get a 0.67% per month increase all the way up to the age of 70. It stops increasing after the age of 70. Now, this is for your own full retirement benefit. Spousal benefits do not receive this. So in this case, if Susan waited to collect the spousal benefit off of Mark's number, remember Mark's number is $3,000, Susan can get $1,500 at her full retirement age of 67. If she waited till the age of 70, what is she going to get? She's going to get $1,500. Spousal benefits do not get the delayed retirement credits. So we wanted to take that into consideration. If Mark waits to collect, he would get the 0.67% increase on his benefit up to the age of 70, but Susan would be getting nothing. Another important part about Social Security is you can't collect off of somebody who is not currently collecting or is deceased. If somebody has passed away, then Social Security could become available to the spouse and or the children. But in this case, if Mark doesn't go in and collect, Social Security would not know to turn on Susan's spousal benefit. So in this situation, Susan would not be able to collect spousal benefits off of Mark until he actually collects. It's a very important point here. because there is the possibility that Mark could wait to get a higher benefit, but Susan would not be receiving a benefit because Mark had not collected. Divorces are a little bit different. The ex-spouse in a divorce only has to be dead, disabled, or the age of 62. They only have to have Social Security available to them. They only have to be eligible, which is dead, disabled, or the age of 62. They don't have to actually be collecting. That's for the divorce case. But Mark and Susan are married. So Susan's not going to be able to collect a spousal benefit off of Mark until he actually files. So one consideration is, should Mark wait till the age of 70? He would get a much higher benefit because he would get 0.67% increase per month for every month he waits beyond his full retirement age. In this situation, 66 and 4 months. But then if he doesn't collect, then Susan would not be able to collect the spousal benefit. If Mark collects now at his full retirement age in December at 66 and 4 months, then boom, Susan's spousal benefit would be available to her at that time. Now, if you remember the facts of the case, Susan is a good bit younger. She's not even the age of 62 right now. So Susan actually could not collect a spousal benefit off of Mark until she turns the age of 62. So Mark could collect now, get his full $3,000 per month. And then in a year and a half or so, when Susan turns the age of 62, she could turn on the spousal benefit. She would get $1,500 of that spousal benefit if she waited to collect until her full retirement age of 67. But if she collects at the age of 62, there's going to be a reduction. One thing you should know about the reduction of spousal benefits, the reduction of spousal benefits is at a more aggressive rate than retirement benefits. So this is Susan's situation. Her full retirement age is 67. She will end up collecting a spousal benefit off of Mark, which is $1,500, because her benefit on her prior work history is only $1,000. So the $1,500 is higher than $1,000. So when she goes to collect, she'll end up on the spousal benefit, which the details of that is she would actually get some off of her number, and then she would get what they call a spousal boost, some off of Mark's number. But it ends up that her bogey, if you will, is $1,500 if she waited till the age of 67. However, Mark will be collecting when she turns 62. She might want to turn it on when she's 62. And if she does, there is a reduction. So this is the way the spousal benefits work. From Susan's age of 67, her full retirement age, to 3 years prior to that, her age of 64, there is a 0.69% per month reduction. Remember, for your own retirement benefits, that reduction in this category is 0.67, but on a spousal benefits, it's reduced at a little bit more of an aggressive rate. So if she collects any month prior to the age of 67 down to the age of 64, the reduction is 0.69% per month or 8.3% per year. And then if she collects prior to the age of 64 down to the age of 62, there would be a 0.42% reduction. In this situation, if Mark files for Social Security full benefits, he gets $3,000 in December at his full retirement age. Susan waits till she's the age of 62, goes to collect that spousal benefit, which would be at most $1,500, half of Mark's number. If she collects at 62, she's going to get a 35% reduction. That's what these numbers ultimately add up to. So if she were to collect at the age of 62, she would get 65% of $1,500 as a spousal benefit on Mark's number. So what are we considering here? So the options really are for Mark to delay and then Susan start collecting when he turns his on. If Mark delays till the age of 70, he will get that retirement credit up to the age of 70. But if he waits till 70, at that point, Susan's going to be the age of 64. She would have missed out on potentially a couple of years of collecting because she can start to collect the spousal benefit off of Mark's number if he's collecting when she is the age of 62. So what did it work out to be? We ran the numbers. A couple of important points. One, Mark has a pretty strong, pretty healthy amount, if you will, of life insurance. So the survivor benefit wasn't as big of a consideration. If Mark passes away before Susan, Susan will end up collecting what Mark was collecting. If he collects at full retirement age and gets $3,000, that's what Susan would get. If you waited till the age of 70 and got those delayed retirement credits, got that bigger check, which would be about $3,800, $3,840 roughly in this example. If you waited till 70, Susan would get the $3,840. So but Mark's got a good amount of life insurance, and so that wasn't as important here. If Mark had absolutely no life insurance, we might want to consider in a case like that Mark delay, so that if he passes away before Susan, Susan would have a much higher number because Mark waited to get a higher number. The way this worked out is we ran the numbers. He had a good amount of life insurance. We didn't want him to collect early because he would have had suffered some reduction because he's working right now. So the way we ran the numbers, it made the most sense in this situation for Mark to collect at full retirement age, begin receiving that $3,000 per month, even though he's still working. And then for Susan to collect a spousal benefit at the age of 62, even though she's only going to get 65% of that $1,500. So that is an actual case that we worked on. That is some of the thought process that we went through. We looked at the reductions, the challenges with the reductions, the fact that Mark was working, you collect early and you're still working. They could reduce the amount of money that they're sending to you. Susan is 6 years younger than Mark. She won't be able to collect a spousal benefit or her own retirement benefit, whichever was higher. In this case, it was the spousal benefit. She won't be able to collect it until the age of 62. The way the numbers worked out in this situation, again, we ran it through our financial planning. We looked at their cash flow. We looked at their expenses. We looked at their insurance coverage. We looked at their tax situation. We got into some considerations of their estate planning. Of course, we did some investment planning for them. The way this situation worked out, it made the most sense for Mark to go ahead and collect at full retirement age. In about a year and a half, Susan is going to collect a spousal benefit at a reduced rate. It's going to end up to be right around $975. So in a year and a half from now, Mark will be collecting his full retirement benefit because he waited till full retirement age. He'll get his primary insurance amount of $3,000. In about a year and a half, Susan will turn on about $975, it was roughly. And they will have almost $4,000 of income that will last throughout their lifetime. If Mark passes away before Susan does, then Susan will flip over to the benefit that Mark was receiving. That's your survivor benefit. If she collects that survivor benefit prior to her own age of 67, there would be a reduction. The target would be that $3,000 that Mark is collecting. But if she starts to collect that prior to her own full retirement age, there is a reduction on the survivor benefit too. So you would keep that in mind. So if he passed away before Susan was the age of 67, her full retirement age, then she would get less than that $3,000. But kind of a unique nuance with the survivor benefit. Susan would be able to turn on one benefit, turn off the other, leave one benefit on, collect one later. It's called a restricted application that is very unique to the survivor benefits. In any case, if Mark passed away earlier than Susan did, she would flip over to his benefit. If Susan passed away, Mark would simply stay on his benefit. Susan's survivor benefit or spousal benefit that she had been collecting would effectively go away. So that's just kind of a case example and how we work through that for Mark and Susan, and some of the considerations that you might want to think about when you are collecting or about to collect Social Security and your spouse is younger. Of course, you could call us. We can run a lot of these numbers, give you some thoughts and ideas on what might be best for you. Collect now, wait, get some of the delayed retirement credits. It's going to be very, very unique to everybody. Even if you are in a situation where the age difference is similar, the income similar, the insurance coverages are similar, your decision will be very unique, be very different. But you can feel free to call us at 833-HPK-PLAN, 833-HPK-PLAN. Hope this was helpful. Look for future videos where we're going to be going through some of the case studies that we worked on and go through the rules that apply in Social Security and some of the decision points.